for success. And I have with me today as one of our coaches. She has been a business and life coach and has a great career expertise before she delved into coaching. And with that background, she has been able to help us um, talk about what is signature for success. So today we are going to talk a lot about when we are discussing about our career and life. There are a lot of aspects related to our careers. There are a lot of aspects that come into picture about our lives as well. And our focus is going to be on what is your signature for success? How do you define your success? What is your success quotient? And we will then discuss about with Evlien how can we identify that, how does it impact our lives, and how can you find out about yours. So welcome, Evlien, to the session.
Thank you, Karuna. It's lovely to be here with you, and I love this topic because it's really, really close to my heart, and maybe it's good to explain a little bit about what signature for success is all about.
I think, Evlien, the audience is not being able to see you. Let me just figure this out just for a second, and I'm going to be back. Yeah. Hang on for a second. Okay. So I think we have some technical issues coming up here. Just a second, and I think we'll be okay with it. So till then, what we're going to do is just get back on to discussing about, guys, I'm just trying to figure out what's going wrong here, why we are not being able to. So Evlien, I'm giving you a link, and I think you should be able to click on this and join into the chat, join into the video. So you can quickly click on this link, and I think we'll be able to see you on your video. So while Evlien is clicking onto it, guys, the show is all about, there are a couple of people asking us about what is the show all about. So I, on a regular basis, on every few days in a week, I do a leadership series of LinkedIn Lives where I talk about certain stories of people where they've moved from transitioned from a certain career to another one, or have had stories of great and confidence that they talk about. And all of these stories basically are about how showcasing how they've showcased resilience, how they have showcased leadership to become successful in their lives. So here we are. Back with Evlien.
Yes, I can hear the voice.
Okay, so here we are with Evlien, and I can put her up on the screen. Just a second. Hey, Evlien, welcome.
Yeah. No, we're doing good, right?
Yeah, we're doing good right now. So the entire session that we talk about is about leaders who have had success stories in their lives, or coaches who have made a difference to people's lives. And this session is all about giving in value to audience who are listening to us and creating stories of success. So join in and listen to us. And today we're going to talk about what is your signature for success.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. Exactly.
Welcome, Evlien.
Thank you very much, Karuna.
Over to you. We would love to hear your story of about your career, how have you transitioned to become a business and life coach, and how is it that you're helping a lot of people now?
Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you very much. Yes, I have a corporate background. So what I did, I worked approximately 20 years in the corporate world in communication management roles and change management roles. And I was always working with teams and organizations in change. But actually talking about change within organization, it actually boils down to the individual and the thrive of the individual to want to change, to be able to lead to the change within a team or an organization to the bigger picture. And what I really always loved in my work is working with people, working with teams, and working with individuals, and to help them to find their unique spot within them and how they can leverage that to the effectiveness and the success actually of the team and the organization. And that really is the foundation of how I decided the very end of 2014 and beginning of 2015 to start my full-time coaching business. And so nowadays what I do is I work as a business and life coach myself. And I also have a Signature for Success, which I will talk a little bit about later, which is my own coaching method. So I'm also mentoring coaches to work with people in career paths and also as a business coach. And I wrote my first book this year, so that will be launched the very beginning of next year. And I love to speak and inspire people to really stop asking that question about, what is it that I really want, and having that nagging feeling of not finding the fulfillment in your life and business, because that's something I see a lot of people are struggling with. They're continuously having that feeling that what they're doing now is not good enough, and it's not really giving them the feeling as if this is the life they want to live. And getting rid of that continuous question within the back of your mind is really liberating for me. I don't know how that is for you, Karuna, but that is something that has really changed my life. And I really feel strongly inspired to help others in finding that way of fulfillment in their lives. And there are different ways in how you can do that. It's not just your career or it's not just your own business, but it's the entire picture that will lead to that feeling of that this is really the life that you want to live.
Indeed, indeed. And I think we all have been in that space where we have experienced changes in our career and in our lives, and we feel that, okay, sometimes we feel stuck and sometimes we are motivated, and there are phases of what we are going through, and multiple times multiple phases come in our lives. For me also, for example, life shifted with certain milestones that came in my life.
Absolutely.
And my perspective of looking at things changed as well.
Absolutely. And that's what as I call it, the journey of life is all about, is that, it's not a flat line. At least my life is not a flat line at all. And sometimes I love it, sometimes I hate it, but that's what life is all about. And by having these ups and downs in life, that really gives you a deeper understanding of yourself in the first place, because that's really what, talking about Signature for Success, signature is so personal. It's like your personal footprint in life. And a lot of people are looking at the outside world for solutions for finding that, that peace within, or that clarity, but then it is within you. It is in who you are. And a lot of people think they know themselves, but they actually don't know that well. And all the things that we go through in life, the ups and the downs, are mirrors in life to get to know ourselves better and to understand who we truly are. And that's how it really works, because when we're all, we step into this world as babies, we're all pure, and we're all, within the next couple of years after being a very young child, we get all these influences of the people that are helping us grow up, and the school and the friends and our family. And that's how our true nature actually gets kind of blurry. And that's really what Signature for Success is all about, to really understand that who you truly are, and the foundation of that is leading you to that fulfillment and or success, whatever you would like to call it.
Yeah. So knowing who you are, from there, when we start getting into reflections, asking ourselves that question of what is that, at some um, um, I've lost every would yeah, she's back with we're back with there was some issue with the net, so we were just a reflection on who you are, and when we start on that question, it gives us a lot of insights into what values do we stand for. At least that's what my life. What is it that I want to do? How do
Exactly. Yeah. The sound is a little off every once in a while, but I completely agree with that. It's really understanding what your core values are, and also what you truly from deep within desire. And that is not just much the things that you want from, just your thoughts, because then it gets something that is forced. It is something that you truly desire from the heart. What is it really that you want to do here in life, and what you want to contribute to the bigger picture? And it's not just about your own, to fill your own wallet, as to speak, but it really is about what your true deepest desires are. And so it's a combination of knowing what your core values are, knowing what your deep desires are, and that you really know is how you can be an impact to the bigger picture, and what your purpose is and what your why is. And a lot of people make it something really complicated, as if it needs to be something that is really fancy, but it truly is just understanding what your unique power of being is, and how you can understand what your unique added value is, and how you can use that in the work that you do.
Tell us a little more about that, Evlien. That why it's important to ask that question, that reflective question. How does that create an importance for our careers?
Yeah, well, because if you look at in general, a lot of people that are within career paths, within organizations, they kind of follow what is, coming up, new job opportunities and everything like that, instead of really taking their own leadership ahead and really being the one shaping their own future. And that's actually why I love working with entrepreneurs, with business owners, because they can really shape their own future. But I'm also really a fan to help people within career paths to know who they are, and to really be able to take a lead in shaping their own career and their own future. Because if you don't really know who you are, if you don't really have clarity on what your core values are, if you don't really know what your passions and talents are, and what is it that you want to contribute in the world, and what your unique added value is, you don't even know how to shape your own career and your own future. So that it really is something that is needed to be able to take it to a next level, and to know what job is something that I can really use these qualities in, and what is something that maybe is it's better for someone else to do that. And it really is, you are the one that is holding the steering wheel, and you're not in the back of the bus or the plane or whatever. You're the one that is in the lead.
Hmm. Yeah, indeed. And I remember while I was, in my early years of career and I was doing my education, I remember asking that question to myself where I said that, what are some qualities that I have and how is it that I want to create an impact? And I was somehow clear about this, that I knew that I was good with connecting with people, connecting with nurturing them, and that came like a natural quality to, and it of time became such that I picked up a job in the HR domain, and subsequently, as I was exploring my career, I subsequently started coaching people. And that's where, when I started coaching people, is when I realized that this is where I really belong to. And that only happened, and I realized that at, after a few years of my life, career, initially we were doing all kinds of jobs as a, at a junior level, we are doing all kinds of activities. But as I was more progressing, because I knew that I was good with connecting with people, it automatically came as a transition. But for some people it might be easy. For example, it was kind of fairly, I was already in the same kind of field. But for some people, I've seen a way too different life story unveiling, from a different profile to a different together. So, Evelyn, would there be any tip that you would have for our audience, which could help them kind of start reflecting? How can they kind of, take up some, maybe write some notes, or uh, how do they observe their own selves so that they are able to progress?
Yeah. Well, I love that question, because it's of course it is good to reflect on yourself, but is getting to know yourself better is something that we do in interaction with others. So it is within the teams that we work in, but also at home, within your family, with your friends and the people that you are collaborating with and you're encountering with, because that's really where you start to see yourself with the feedback and how people react on who you are. And to have the guts, to have the courage to really go beyond the fear, and to really dare to take steps and get to know yourself better is really important. And that means within a career path is that staying stuck is something that is not leading to anything. So I'm a big fan of really taking steps and creating movement. And I think as long as you're really creating movement, something is happening. And that's the way how you can see yourself for who you are. And that really is something I have experienced, that it takes life experience. It is something that is very hard for you if you're really young to get to the core of who you really are. So you need that life experience, and you need to create movement in being with people, encountering with people, and with that feedback, getting to know yourself better and better and better. And also, one thing that I see with a lot of people that I work with is that remaining in that pattern of really living full speed ahead, and not every once in a while stepping on that brake, to really take some time and reflect on things. I think that is the biggest mistake a lot of people are making, because they want to be successful, and they're really in a mode of speeding up and going, full speed ahead. And I think that really is something that is important, to take your time and reflect, and to give it some thought, to reflect on things. That really is important.
So, are there any powerful questions that people could ask while doing that reflection? Because I remember there are sometimes what happens with me is, I'm reflecting on a situation and I'm trying to kind of take that up. And sometimes it takes me in a negative self-talk, which I realize later. But is there any way to kind of ask ourselves and keep ourselves in that positive talk space? Are there any questions you could give us to think about?
Well, one thing, and it's something I'm also writing about in my book, Be Relentlessly You, about how much of an enemy we can be ourselves towards ourselves is the words that we speak, the thoughts that we think about ourselves. As you just said, Karuna, is that we can be very critical on things that we think, I should have done it differently. I'm not proud of myself, this and that. And so we can be really harsh to ourselves. And that is something I believe that you can really exercise in being more aware of the thoughts that you think about yourself and the words that you use. Because the way we talk about ourselves is so nasty sometimes. That is not the way at all how we treat other people. So to be more aware of what you think is something, if you change that and bring that in a more positive and empowering way, and being more gentle to ourselves, that really gives you a big boost in your energy. If you can be more loving to yourself.
So any real life example of your life that you were able to relate to when something like this happened in your career journey, and you realize that, oh, I'm not being too critical about myself?
Well, examples. Actually, I have to be honest that I have really, and especially this past year writing my book, I've been really aware of my own thoughts and what I do and what I think. And I have created a life where I can really do what I want whenever I want to. And that is something that is really nice. But looking back at my career, I definitely have been in positions where I was not really working with the people that were really, where it wasn't really it for me. And where I was in roles where I was doing stuff that was nice, but not great. And my love really was with working with the teams that I was leading and the people that I was working with. But of course, there have been periods and times where I was, critical to myself. But then, finding your way in your career to really do where you're at your best and where you can really add value. And especially looking back in my career when I was in positions where I was really doing stuff where I was, letting my thoughts and my mind lead me instead of really doing that in, working together with my gut feeling and my heart. And because, I'm going to have a client around the table in a little while after this talk with you. And I'm just so looking forward to, and I can really be there for that person. And I can really use my intuition in the work that I do. And that is such a gift. And, by doing that, I trust myself and I have, this self-confidence that I know what to do because I'm really open to the person, and that's not about me at all. Then it is about my client and something that we're completely focused on. And I see that we're getting a question coming in, so I'm reading a question now.
Okay.
How do we let go of instant gratification in a situation of fight or fight? How we sustain?
Here is the question.
Sorry, I'm reading the question.
Yeah, so the question is, how do we let go of instant gratification in a situation of fight or flight? How do we sustain to let go of traditional thought? So by traditional thought, I think Gandharv you mean is limiting thoughts. And in a space where you're feeling that, okay, should I pick it up? Should I fight for it? Or should I just move away from it? I think, you're talking about that, okay, many a times we want short-term results, and when we talk about short-term results, it's more about we're looking at immediate need that we want, that needs to be addressed, but we forget that in the long term it may or may not have a positive impact on us. So in my opinion, if you yourself connected to why are you doing what you're doing, it'll figure out that do you need to fight in that situation, or just choose your fights in the right way. So when you say flight, basically it means, in my opinion, you don't choose to move ahead and take it up. So um, you know, choosing to whether being there for, taking a stand or fighting for it, I think what you need to consider is that, look at why do you want to do what you want to do, and how it could create an impact in your life. So I think that's what I would add my 2 cents to. I would give it to Evlien to add more value to this question, answer to this answer.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks for the question. And actually, the word fighting is something that I always take distance from, because I don't like fights, and I don't believe that fights really are the way to stay true to yourself. It's just, if you really follow your heart, you just flow with the stream. And that's, as if it's a river that you're following. And I believe that doesn't mean that there are sometimes obstacles on the road. But I think that everything that happens and everything that you're running up to is an invitation for you to really feel. And I think that really is in line with what you just said, Karuna, is that you can really feel like, is this right for me? Is this is this the right path? Because I feel like if it really gets into a fight where you feel like you're having to force yourself, I don't think that is the way. And that's really learning on the way to listen to that inner voice, because that inner voice never tells you you're not good enough. That inner voice tells you never to really, take the weapons and to really have a fight. It's really follow the path and follow where you feel like it's flowing. And I think talking about that gratification, I think it's most of it to give it to yourself, to let yourself know that you're it is indeed your inner voice. It's your inner voice telling you that this is right and that you're good enough. And as we said earlier, it's the thoughts that you think about yourself, it's the words you speak about yourself. To be very aware of that.
Yeah, indeed. And I think that makes a lot of sense, that we need to be mindful of the words that we're using, and that inner talk that we are doing. And I would say, just, I read this somewhere. I don't remember who was saying this, or, or the video that I saw or read it, but it talked about your quality of your life depends on the quality of questions that you ask yourself.
Yeah.
That was very interesting.
Yeah. And there's also a saying like that, it's the words that you speak is the life that you live. And it's kind of in the same line.
Yes.
It really, and there it really helps to surround yourself with people, just like our connection and having people around you that have this really thrive to inspire others and to really have a positive influence on the lives of others, and to share that vibe. And that is something is extremely important, because if you have people that are around you that are very negative or very influenced on all the things that are happening in the world, the media, and if that doesn't serve you, then just stay away from it and choose the people that you want to surround yourself with, and that give you that energy and to really make a change and to stay who you are and to have that influence on the world.
Very interesting. So Evlien, tell us more about the coaching practices that you do, and where, you're supporting business leaders as well as professionals and entrepreneurs move ahead in their careers and lives, in their businesses, and create results. So how, any examples of how you've any stories where where, people, by creating that signature for success that we are talking about.
Yeah. Well, there are many examples, and it's and of course it's a quality of the coach that really determines the success that you're having with clients. So it's, of course, I have a method that's extremely effective, and I'm also really looking for coaches that are able to really apply that and to bring themselves to the field where they're working with their clients to be really successful and to book really good results. But what the way of working from the point of view of Signature for Success, the brand that I have, is really starting with that foundation of getting clarity on what your unique signature is. Because once you have that clarity on that signature, and we were talking about that earlier, about your core values, having clarity on what your why is, what your passions and your talents are, and your deepest desires, and also what that unique added value is, that is really a starting point from there on, where you can make choices in your career on what positions that you want to take on, what business you want to build. It doesn't really matter on what it is that you do. And once that foundation is there, it is really something where you can build up on and you can rely on. For example, I sometimes work with people that are working together in a business, and having clarity on what your unique signature is really helps you to look at what your own position is in relating to having that business together. Because what you see sometimes, people working together in a business, or it could even be a collaboration when you're working for an employer, it is really important that you know where you're at and who you are, and that you have that clarity. Because then it's sometimes people really get lost, and they kind of lose themselves, and they lose their own dreams, and they lose their own values because of the company that they have together. And sometimes that means that you have to say goodbye to the people that you're working with, because then your dreams are not really aligned with the dreams of the other person. And then having a separate business and keeping that business alive actually doesn't really have any meaning if it doesn't really is something that is serving you. And so that is an example. And I think talking about people that are within career paths is especially, not waiting for a next position to come by of, a job that you want, but really being able to have that dream and to think about, okay, and what are the positions where I can use my unique added value, and where I can use my strength to really shape the future of me within this organization, or, maybe within other organizations that you're working for.
Yeah, very interesting stuff. And, it's more like, the more we ask these questions, the more we reflect on all of these things, the more clarity do we start getting into this area. So
Exactly.
it's sometimes, if you're confused, know this, that confusion is a good state to be in, I feel, because that's when you will start asking more questions, and that's what will lead you to clarity.
Absolutely. And so that is something not to be afraid of, but just let it be, and let it kind of, if it's itching a bit, or you feel like it's you're not feeling extremely comfortable, at least something is happening. So that really is an invitation to listen to that inner voice in, okay, what is going on here? What is this telling me? So I love that, what you just said, Karuna.
Yeah, very interesting. And in my coaching conversations, sometimes when I'm talking to people, a lot of them reach out to me because of my HR background. A lot of them want to connect to me to know, okay, what's the next step in my career? They might be functional experts in their own spaces, but at times they feel they've reached a spot where they start questioning that, okay, what's next for me now? What's the next level of achievement for me, that they are looking for? So many a times I do tell them that it's okay to be in a confused state, because that's when you would start exploring. And then you would get more clarity to what you would like to move ahead in, and ask yourself those questions. And I love the thought when you, Evlien, talked about the fact that we kind of keep going in that busy schedule and not realizing that we need to give ourselves that some time of a break, where that time is only for self reflection or loving our own selves, and adding more value to our own selves. Because the more we do that, the more we love ourselves, the more connected we are, we will know what's our purpose and what is it that will make us fulfilled.
Absolutely, absolutely. And to truly see yourself for who you are. And so it's, I think one tip is find out really what it is that you need to be in that positive energy. For example, for me, reading books, doing, my running that I do a couple of times a week, being outdoors, being in nature, and really having that time, that, as I call it, my me time, to really be with myself, because I do need a lot of me time. That is extremely important to be able to stay true to myself and not to lose myself in, the battle of the team or the organization or other people that are really, doing something forcefully, maybe from their head and their way of thinking. And that is, so really know what it is that you need to stay in the good energy. That's the foundation of how you can really be successful, in the sense what success for you is. Because for me, talking about success really is fulfillment, to be honest. Because I'm very blessed that I can live the life that I do, and I have the freedom to do what I do whenever I do. But for me, that is success: to do the work that I love, to work with people that I truly love, and that I can really make a change. And that really is what true fulfillment is all about. So know these energy fillers, as I call them, and also know what is really drawing energy out of you. And sometimes that is the media, or sometimes you have people that are, constantly complaining about things. Stay away from them. Look at people that are giving you the good vibes and are really helping you to get into that flow and get into that river, and to really, to really take on life.
So amazing. I just love the fact that you mentioned about the energy, and it's all about energy, because that's something I completely, absolutely believe in. Everything is all about energy at the end of the day, because whatever we are creating is all energy. Whether we have positive thoughts, negative thoughts, actions that we are doing, anything that we have with us, all of it is energy at the end of the day. And if that energy, we're using it for fulfilling our own desires as human beings, or fulfilling the needs of other people, we're using it in a positive way. So indeed, success is about being in that space where you're feeling fulfilled. That edge makes you do the work that you love and work with people that you love, and add that value that you would love to add.
Yeah. And I think, sometimes you hear people that are in jobs that you don't really like, but then, they need the income, and that's why they stay in that position.
Yes.
And I think, talking about that, as I said in the beginning, it is about the bigger picture of having fulfillment in your life. And sometimes, and I'm also writing a bit about that in my book, because sometimes I feel like we're, too forced on the fact that everybody needs to have a dream job. Everybody needs to have that job that is just, where you have that on top of the world feeling. And what I believe in is that the bigger picture should be really good, that you have fulfillment in life. But that could also be something where you're working with either kids, or you're doing some activities outside of work that are really giving you fulfillment. And so in that sense, it's really important to that you are the one that is giving that fulfillment in your life. And there are different ways in doing that. And I think no one is there to judge you on if that job, what you have, is good enough or not, because I know a guy that, stepped out of his career, and he decided to be a fireman because that's something where he truly felt passion in. And he just, and he has a university degree and is doing that job now, but he's really happy with what he does. But that is something that is giving him fulfillment, and it has nothing to do with money, and it has nothing to do with what the outside world thinks of him. So it is really, you're the one that determines how to follow your heart and what decisions you make.
Wow, interesting. That's something, when we give time to ourselves is when we realize that. So signature for success, I think, you very nicely mentioned about the fact that it's about fulfillment at the end of the day. And how do you figure that out is by asking ourselves those amazing questions of what our values are, what am I here for, how do I want to what makes me happy at the end of the day. When we do all of this, I think, knowing that there is a mind and body connection, ultimately it's all about energy. We not just, and this is my opinion, and there are scientific facts also, I think, which might add value to it, is when we fulfillment, our body is also in sync with that happy feeling, and ultimately creates good health for ourselves as well. The happy hormones that we generate create the good health also for us.
Yeah, I love that you bring that up, because that is really important, is to listen to your body, because a lot of people are not really paying attention to their physical symptoms. And actually, I'm also covering a chapter on this in my book, because in the past I've had a period of time where I had really a lot of stomach aches, and they were really, really, really bad. I was walking around that for forever. And it completely disappeared when I started working doing the stuff that I'm doing nowadays. So it is, your body really knows, and your body tells you what is going on, and to be able to really be aware and to listen to, how am I doing? How do I feel? And what is my body telling me? And that is really, if we ignore that, then you're in trouble.
Of course. And all of us are going through so much of stress in these times, especially the 2020 year has been pretty stressful in multiple aspects for multiple people. Each and every human being in this planet today has been impacted in this year. And if we do not kind of connect to our own selves, symptoms of our body, or even interact, be in a space where we feel fulfilled, we will always talk about the so-called word stress, which impacts us in some way or the other.
Yeah. I don't like stress, because I don't think stress is good for anything. Of course, like a day like today, and actually this week, I have a calendar that is quite filled, but then I still have time in the mornings to do my running or to do my writing. And I think as long as you keep that balance there, instead of being continuously in that state of stress, that is not the way, because, and it shows, it shows on your face, on your expression, and how you look. And that's where I think also, talking about the topic that we had about, we talked about earlier, is that people in your environment will tell you, you look good, or you look relaxed, and to really be aware of the state that you're in. And it's all about awareness, being extremely aware about, how am I doing? How do I feel? And to listen, to learn to listen to to yourself, actually.
Okay, very interesting. I also feel is that I have tried to do all of these things on my own, but it doesn't happen, and I fall. Although I want to get up and move ahead, but I feel that many a times I need guidances at certain milestones in my life. And in those places, if I don't have a guide or a support, um, coming back at time, coming back might take even longer. So accelerate that is possible when I have somebody who I can on or take guidance from, and yes, the proximity of people like that in my friend circle helps. But I also feel that we need to be with somebody who's more of a coach or a mentor who asks us those questions and questions our beliefs as well.
Agree. And I think it's not as much the thought that you can't do it yourself, but I think when I decided to do this work full time, which is almost 6 years ago, I really wanted to speed up myself. I took on actually 2 coaches, and because I really wanted to invest and to really be able to build that business in a sense where I was really being able to make a change in others' lives. And I think everybody needs a mentor now and then. And, the market of coaches is really huge. And I think a lot of people are, having the inspiration in being a coach because they have stuff to figure out themselves. And I think, we all have our issues, and we all have to learn continuously, because that's what life is all about. But I think there are a lot of, good coaches out there that you really need to make steps and get clarity. And you're one of them yourselves as a career coach. And I really love to work with people and to inspire people and to help people to do that. And that's something nowadays, not something to be ashamed about. It's something that we all, be smart and take a step, take a risk, and find the right people to really help you in, finding that fulfillment and being more happy. And don't stay stuck in a situation for, how much energy and how much, life energy does that cost if you just stay put and you just don't do anything. I think it's just a waste.
It's a waste. You're wasting the energy and the gifts that you have, which the world could benefit from. So,
absolutely.
So, would there be any tips, Evlien, would you like to talk to us on which they can take back and reflect and make their lives better and how they could identify for success? And maybe after that, tell us more about your book. Is it releasing, and how can we get hold of that? So, 2 questions.
Okay. Yes. Okay. First of I think starting with the last question, the book is in the very finishing stage in Dutch, and it's being translated in English. So I think it will probably be on the market in February 2021. And so I'll definitely keep you up to date, and you can follow me on LinkedIn, Facebook, or Instagram to stay up to date on the launch of that. And it's and talking about tips, I think is we already mentioned quite a few tips during this live session, and I think the most important thing is to have the courage and to step up and to stay to create, as I call it, movement. Because then staying in a position where you feel like fear is something that is holding you back, choose for love and choose for trust instead of fear. And go and do it and be around people that are inspiring. And if you have any questions, you know how to find me, reach out. And I'm always happy to give a boost of inspiration anyway. and I know you are as well, Karuna. So it's just stay tuned, and happy to do that.
Awesome. Awesome. I love that. And I think these are such amazing tips, when you're talking about the fact that be around people who you love to, keeping your energies there intact, by choosing the right set of people, by choosing the kind of thoughts and words that you, use for your inner talk or express yourself. So your thoughts, words, act, they are synced up. You would find more success coming to your way. Apart from that, knowing your own self is the core thing at the end of the day. And when you start asking powerful questions to your own self, using that words and language as Evlien talked about for your own self, you would find that it'll start shifting you in your life. So such powerful thoughts, Evlien, you've talked about you, and from the audience as well. I would say that I wish you a lot of success with you. I'm sure you're very excited, and so we are equally too. And we would love to read the book and get hold of it when it's out there in the market. Wishing you lots and lots of success. So we coming in, Evlien, for you as well. Priyanka says absolutely amazing. Karuna says very inspiring talk. Raj Kumar says very nice. Bino is also talking about great session. And I think lots of positive comments coming in. We're happy to take in more questions, guys. So drop in comments, questions, and send a lot of love to us. Evlien and I have more questions also. So feel free, if you have any queries, you could reach out to us through Facebook, YouTube. We're live on all, help you with any queries you might have related to your signature for success. So it's all about, at the end of the day, these tips that Evlien is talking about. Ultimately, keep yourself happy, healthy, and stay connected to all of us. Happy to take up more questions. So Evlien, any last words for everybody?
Well, and I think the most important thing is that we talked about is to get to that feeling of fulfillment, is to be gentle to yourself and to really accept yourself for who you truly are, because you're not supposed to be someone that you're not. You can be yourself, you can be your relentless self, and that's exactly what you're supposed to be in life, because that's what makes you unique. And we love it when everybody is their unique being, and they can understand that they're a unique power, and how they can really add to the value of your business or your organization. The position that you're in is all about that uniqueness and that power of being. And so be gentle to yourself. I think that's the most important thing.
So we would end with this, saying that stay unique, stay happy, stay healthy, and stay connected. So with that, looking forward to more sessions with all of you, adding as much value as I can. Here is what we end with that. And thank you so much for watching it. Those who are watching it, do leave us a comment to know more about your feedback. Would love to answer back to you. Thank you so much, and goodbye for now. Thank you.
Thank you, Karuna.
Thank you, Evlien. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listeners.